All right, hey, how you doing? Well, tonight I'm here with Angela, and her and I are going to talk to you guys about 287G and all the little things involved with it. And just for some information, Section 287G was passed on September 30th, 1996, as part of the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigration Responsibility Act of 1996. So this was added then. All right, so let me bring in Angelina White here, and we will talk. Hey, how are you,
Hey, Matt.
Angelina?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Well, I don't know about that actually.
Well,
I'm not doing so good. This is
yeah,
really making me a very happy camper.
yeah. It's pretty
Um,
rough.
yeah. So, what do you were we were talking a little bit ago, and you were mentioning that you kind of knew a little bit about the beginnings of this, and I kind of wanted to touch on that just a little bit for everyone.
I mean, yeah, I do know a little bit about it. I know 287G it's a very old program that is getting a lot of there's a huge surge in these agreements that are being signed, and it essentially just allows local law enforcement to perform some of the duties of ICE and immigration. And historically, there's been a lot of issues where um, the biggest complaint historically since the beginning has been that it allows local law enforcement to target individuals with very little or no criminal history and racially profile them. So this program, since its inception, has a fairly racist history, unfortunately, and it it is incredibly problematic. Um, it has been around for like you said since 1996, but it's really in the last decade or so that we've seen a lot more agreements signed, and particularly now with the current Trump administration, there has been a massive increase because there is so much money being poured into DHS and ICE
Right.
under the big beautiful bill. So we are just seeing an explosion of these agreements where local law enforcement is trying to get a piece of that cash
Yeah,
by signing them.
I know because when they cut our Medicaid, that amount of money happens to be the entire budget for Medicaid. So Medicaid is effectively bankrupt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I
And
mean when
same thing
you
with SNAP, the billions
yeah
of dollars out of that,
yeah
that's effectively done right after. In fact, all these things are supposed to be implemented right after the election. Isn't that convenient?
It is
Because
amazing, and the cuts are already we're already seeing cuts in things like Medicaid and SNAP, in preschool programs, like any kind of Head Start programs. Those have been cut. Meals on Wheels in Benton County. I live just down the road from this Meals on Wheels location. It had to shut down because they don't have funding, and everything keeps getting cut. And we are funneling money that we used to invest in community building into ICE, and then ICE is then paying our local governments or our local law enforcement these contracts to perform their duties of finding undocumented people. Um, and typically, the people they are finding are not violent criminals. They are moms, dads, working people who may be undocumented because they crossed the border illegally. They may be here undocumented because they overstayed a visa or they were in the process of getting their legal citizenship and ran out of money because it's incredibly expensive. And so we
right, but
are we are funding this as taxpayers. So
this is nationwide stop and frisk.
yeah, essentially.
Because if you don't have, unless you have a passport, nothing else really will suffice as a documentation for your status as an immigrant. A license won't work.
I
It
mean,
says where you can drive.
I mean,
Not even the new
there's
driver's license will work either. That's not acceptable for
there are only two states
citizens.
because this has come up with the Save Act. There's only two states that actually have the option of like signifying whether you're a U.S. citizen or not on your driver's license, um, and it's not Arkansas. I know that because
Yeah, right.
with the Save Act that they're trying to pass, that's also another issue coming up. But yeah, passport. If you are here legally but not like a U.S. citizen, I mean, like a green card or other immigration documents. But again,
And now they have a
like
bounty too that they're able to collect.
yeah,
That's, if I'm not mistaken, it's like $100 a head.
I'd have to go back and look at the exact number, but yeah,
Yes, yeah.
there are
Mhm.
incentives for local law enforcement
Excuse me. Yeah, there is.
for
Mhm.
for finding people under this program, right? So it incentivizes them to find the people who are easiest to
ruin
find.
people's lives, because most of these people that they're hitting up are been here for generations, citizens, just like everybody else, a lot of other people. And, by the time they get out of this and back to work, well, they had to move on and hire someone else to take your spot, I mean,
Yeah.
can't hold it forever.
There are people who have current DACA status, so they are here. They have a legal status. They're allowed to be here. They've gotten caught up in these types of things. We've had people who are have legal status through like a green card or something, but they
Right.
could end up in jail and having to prove all that in the process.
And just for the record, that's a misdemeanor. That's why they wanted misdemeanor space.
Yes.
To
Yes,
add
so,
misdemeanor crimes. It's for the new, because they knew that this 287G was coming down the road, and they needed a place because they were going to be. That's what they're going to be doing. We're going to be seeing, because DWI checkpoints, they can be checking people up then. And I bet you we're going to see DWI checkpoints starting to sprout up, because that's an excuse for them to check people.
I mean, it doesn't even, so we had already been seeing people getting stopped under the jail enforcement model that Benton County was already participating in. People would get stopped, they would be taken into Benton County Jail for some suspicion of crime, right? And it would trigger an ICE investigation because we had the jail enforcement model already. Task force is far more aggressive because it allows them to go out into the community and start these investigations based on suspicion of a person being undocumented. And what is that suspicion based on? I mean, we all, what the suspicion is based on. We're not.
Exactly. And they're allowed to go into prisons and jails and check and make sure everybody's legal in there and take them out and deport them right from jail. And I thought they were doing that anyway, actually.
That was the jail enforcement model. That's what we've been under since I believe 2018 is when Benton County signed its first MOA, or 2018. I need to go back and double check, but I know it has been under the jail enforcement model for some time. And we had actually been asking them to please step down. This is really aggressively harming our community. And instead.
I lost you. Yeah, you just faded out on me. Sometimes it just kicks out. Did you lose your Bluetooth? Okay, here we are. Sorry, a little technical glitch there. Her mic kicked out. We got it. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
But yeah, so we had been, as Benton County law enforcement, jail sheriff's department had been participating in jail enforcement and has recently stepped up to task force, which allows them to go out into the community and start investigating people in the community that they suspect of being undocumented. And as I mentioned before, this program has a notorious history of racial profiling and targeting individuals, and they are incentivized to find people under this program to get more federal dollars for it.
So it's legal fishing.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it.
Net instead of just when these things happen and they check them, and they're going to be scooping in, but they're going to scoop in everybody. They're going to scoop in good people with 1% of maybe not so good people, because the percentage is very low. They're going to be pulling in a whole lot of good people to ruin all their lives. And then just.
I mean, and we're already seeing it happen. Like, there are people who are getting picked up daily in areas that have these agreements, who are getting deported, and their families have no notification a lot of times until they're already out of state. Right. They have no idea where they went. And that's terrifying. I mean, imagine your loved one, your spouse, was supposed to be home for dinner that night, and you have no clue that morning on their way to work, they were picked up, put in Benton County Jail. They're not allowed to communicate with anybody. And then the next day, after you've gone 24 hours without seeing them, they're on their way to Louisiana, and you won't hear from them until they're there.
And people are finding pets in cages too. I mean, this is really terrible. I mean, that's literally what's happening, is they're discovering that animals have been left in homes for months and months and months, and they're discovering it, and they're clearly gone. I mean, that's a shitty way to go. It's wrong.
It is. It's horrific, and there's no good reason for it. Like, it does not make our community safer. So our local law enforcement.
That the intent is pain, and it's a way to funnel money and make it and call it something else. But this is ultimately about money. They're taking money from our coffers, our federal tax dollars, You
Yeah.
know, all your money that you send into the feds, they're taking it from you
Yeah.
and putting it in their, I don't know, everybody else's pocket but yours.
Right. Well, and that's the other interesting thing about it. Well, not interesting. The other terrible thing about it is it's not like we get the money immediately
Mhm.
while they do these things that harm people in our community. We are fronting the money at the county level and then expecting that the federal government will pay us at some point,
And
right?
he's notorious for not paying his debts. So yeah.
Yeah. So like Benton County, they have an ordinance that was read on Thursday night at quorum
Mhm.
court for first reading, and they
Yeah,
tried to jump the gun and get to vote
yeah.
on it early, which was really inappropriate. But
Mhm.
it establishes a fund for them to put that money when they
Mhm.
get it from the federal government. And they even said they expect checks 30 days from now for something that started on June 12th.
Mhm.
So 2 months minimum from the time we started this. We have been paying for people to be pulled off the streets in our community with our local tax dollars for the last month and a half.
Oh,
That's
so
what our
they're
tax
actually
dollars are
doing it now.
doing. Yeah, it's already happened. We signed the agreement on June 12th. They're saying they're expecting reimbursement to start in the next 30 days.
So it's all the more important that we stop this from happening.
Absolutely. And
Talk about
so,
funding.
yes. And so, the JPs at
They
quorum
would get
court were
that in their
really
budget.
Mhm. They were very intentional about trying to clarify that Sheriff Holloway is the one who signs the agreement. That is absolutely true. He does sign the agreement.
But we
They
write the check. And we don't have
exact
to send him the check. He can fuck off as far as I'm concerned.
they have to set up the fund. They wanted to make it sound like that this fund has to be established. They have no choice in the matter. My argument is what I say to that is if you had no choice, it would not be something up for you to vote on.
Right.
There's that's
Exactly.
that's not how that works.
They would
You
just
set his
do
budget.
it. Mhm.
Yes, you control his budget. You control how much money they get. They're already trying to approve a $20 million misdemeanor expansion to our jail
Right.
because he is saying that his jail is overfull.
Mhm.
If your jail is too full, there's no reason for you to be going out hunting down members of our community who are just trying to go to work every day
Right.
because they may be undocumented. If you are telling me our jail is too full for you to even hold people who may have other types of crimes that are actually hurting our community, then there's no reason for you to be hunting down people just because they are here undocumented.
Right. I agree. And
It's
they're
completely
misdemeanors. They're not hard criminals of any kind. Yeah.
exactly.
They're
So that
barely
jail
talking tickets. You know.
and that also explains a lot about why they have been so insistent on this jail expansion for the misdemeanor pod and ignoring us when we point out that it's not very fiscally responsible and doesn't deal with the overcrowding.
It
It
doesn't.
makes me believe that they probably knew that this was the intent for it all along, that we would be having a holding place for people who are undocumented because we would be signing this contract to profit off of
And
going
that's
after.
why they didn't want the reads to continue because they don't want us to grow a brain that we're doing and stop them.
Yeah,
Well, we
that was
shine a light
when
on. Mhm.
yeah, so when Justice Miller, who is District 4, um, made the motion to suspend the rules so that they don't have to read the ordinance 3 times and they could just vote on it on Thursday night. His statement was that he felt like it was important because they would be getting checks, but he specifically said that he didn't feel like any of their opinions were going to change in the next 2 months, regardless of what anyone said, and they were all going to vote the same way anyway, so they might as well get it done. That was his argument. And the whole point of the 3 readings is so that the public has a chance to have input on the things our elected officials are doing. So he is essentially saying he doesn't feel like he has any responsibility to his constituents and to listen to them because he's not going to change his mind anyway, which is incredibly disrespectful to voters and the people who put him in that position.
But one thing people need to know at the end of the day, this ultimately can happen with them just saying, giving us the finger
Yeah,
and doing whatever they want to do. Um,
and that might be the case. That
mhm.
may very well be the case. I
I'm
will
sure it's
say
going to be the
I
case. From the sound of looking at, oh man, I forget his name now, McCracken.
mhm,
I don't remember his first name. Phil.
Danny.
Whatever. Oh,
Danny McCracken, yes.
sorry, I didn't know what his first name was.
No, it's okay.
Phil's
I've gotten to know them all fairly
a
well.
good guy. So anyway, he was really unhappy that we were adamant about not wanting to do this. Boy, he was not happy.
I
So that
was,
tells me that
yeah,
they're under a lot of pressure to get this done. They're
absolutely.
under some pressure. This is more
Yes.
than just a vote. This is you need to get this vote done. What are you guys doing? This is
Well,
that kind
and
of vote. That's kind of what it sounds like when
I
I look
think
at
they're
that.
very,
But he's
yeah,
not the only one that had that kind of look either.
no, he's not. I think they're very uncomfortable with the amount of public pressure they continue to receive because it has been consistent,
Mhm.
not just the same people showing up every month, although there are several of us who are there every month, but there are new people coming every single month and speaking out against this. And they're saying we don't want it in our community. And I think it is a very uncomfortable thing to consistently have pushback from constituents and they want to just get it over with and get it off their desk.
Right.
I will say I really appreciated um, Joseph Bollinger and Bethany Rosenbaum specifically saying they wanted to stick to the rules around how they're supposed to proceed. I do respect that and appreciate that. I I did find problem with how um, Justice Rosenbaum framed the public comments as,
Mhm.
being they were very fiery this month in
Exactly.
a way
Yeah,
they
they
have
did.
not been, and I was shocked. But
Me too.
when
They
you
dropped an F bomb or something. Yeah.
yeah, right. And said that they hoped that there was a hell for them to go to, which
Yeah, that
honestly,
too. But that's
when
within
you
their right to say.
and it is, they have I respected Joseph Bollinger at least saying that freedom of speech means protecting all speech, not just speech that you like, right?
Right.
So I
Exactly.
really respected that. I can understand where Justice Rosenbaum was coming from, feeling very
Me
uncomfortable
too.
with that.
It's too bad.
I dis
Then step down.
I disagree that it felt threatening in any
Me
way.
too. I do too. I
There
agree with
was no threat in that statement. It was definitely fiery and it definitely called them out on the choices they continue to make.
that. Mhm.
And while I understand and appreciate that that is probably a very uncomfortable seat to be in right now,
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be comfortable.
No, it's
If you
not.
are making decisions your constituents disagree with consistently and you're consistently ignoring them, you should not be comfortable in that
Yeah,
position.
they're affecting people's lives directly.
Yes,
Yes, their decisions affect.
absolutely.
People are going to maybe not be around no more because of this decision.
Absolutely. There are
Because they're
people.
afraid that if they get deported, what's going to happen? But if I do something now, what? Or if they go back to where they're going, what's going to happen to them when they're back on the soil that they were hunted from?
Well,
You know what I
and
mean?
if they were actually listening to the full story that was shared during that public comment, it is coming from someone whose father-in-law was deported,
Mhm.
who is diabetic, who suffered because he was being held in these ICE detention centers, not given appropriate medical care, which is what is happening in these places, and has been suffering ever since because of that. So for them to get really upset because the public comments aren't according to decorum standards is almost laughable when
We didn't take an oath, and we're not sitting up there. Decorum doesn't fall to us; it falls to them, to
exactly
us.
it
They need to
does
have decorum with us.
it does and it's I'm not saying that people during public comment should be disrespectful or hateful in any way because I know that people aren't likely to
Well, I
listen.
agree. Disrespectful though, they can piss off. Disrespectful is fine. Respect is earned. If you're not going to
I
earn it from me and take the time to whatever, you can piss all the way off.
Yeah,
Hateful stuff though, that's a whole nother matter. No,
and
no, that I
I
kind of
don't feel like any of it was
to me
hateful.
that's
I
a
don't.
hateful. No, no, I agree, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't. To me, I'm a hateful comment. I probably should be called.
yeah,
You know,
I understand what you're saying, and
Mhm.
I, to
But
me,
I agree.
like,
I don't think he was being that way at all.
no, and there's there are so many things that I understand these justices are human. They're getting caught up on a lot of things. They're under a lot of pressure, and that's a good thing. You should be putting pressure on your elected officials when they are doing things that you disagree with. They
Mhm.
should feel that pressure. We saw that happen with the IDA recently in our
Yeah,
county quorum court,
exactly. And they made
and
a
they
big
reacted
deal.
very differently to that pressure.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting fact that the group they were receiving pressure from with the IDA were people who they expected were going to vote for them
Mhm.
and who looked very similar to them
Mhm.
and seemed to
That's
identify with
true.
them.
Yeah, mostly
It
white
is an
people though.
interesting coincidence, I
Mhm.
guess.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Which is probably why they've been coming out to the parking lot talking to us.
right. So it's very frustrating. There is still, I know they said that there was they were highly unlikely to change their stance on what they were doing, right?
We're going to make
But
it.
but we have already seen them say that. We have already seen them backtrack once with the IDA, right? We witnessed that where they had passed that IDA, and the only reason it even came back to Benton County was because originally it was supposed to include Madison and Washington, and those two counties refused. So the only reason Benton County was reconsidering it back in April was because they were going to do it on their own. And that's when the public found out and got really upset and really vocal really quickly,
We should
right?
let them know we're doing this too, and that we're doing these
Absolutely.
types of things to inform the public. We should tell them.
And that was
Maybe I should the next time I go up there.
and that was the thing. 14 of them had voted for that IDA before, and all 15 voted no when it
Right.
came back the second time because there was public outcry, because people let them know, we don't want our money, we don't want our
Right.
tax dollars going to this, we don't want this authority existing that doesn't have accountability. And
But for
if
the
we don't,
final vote, that final read or whatever, the judge tried to pull a fast one. You were there for that.
yeah,
They still voted it down anyway. But
yeah.
the judge is saying, are you sure you want to? We can still look at this another way. Just because we had that vote, it doesn't mean we could do this and this and this.
Oh, on that IDA, yeah.
Well, yeah. And now and there was still a whole lot of us there. Wasn't a lot that was there before, but familiar faces that they knew were there to call them out.
It was very interesting to watch that unfold. And
Yeah.
so I do want to point out specifically when it comes to what happened on Thursday night, they only missed the threshold to suspend rules and vote on that by one vote. And it was because JP Armas was not present.
Yeah.
They had to have a 2/3 majority to suspend the rules.
10, yeah.
Had he been there, I have no doubt in my mind, based on how I have seen him vote before, that those rules would have been suspended and it would have been a done deal.
That's crazy.
So if we want people, if you want to speak out, now is the time. It is important. You have to be at that August 27th meeting at 6 p.m. It is vital, and you need to be there not just on
suspend the rules for one vote.
So they have to have 10. They have to have 10.
No, I know that. I know. Armas is in the back. Then he's the 10th guy.
Yep. If he had been there, I would not.
I think is what we should.
I would. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe he would surprise me and be really dedicated to the rules of order and all of that.
Shouldn't take a chance.
I have watched how he has gone so hard for this and supported
this. And you're going to be around and you're able to attend the next quorum court.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, you might want to just show up and help back us up because she's right.
Absolutely.
The numbers are what they listen to. They don't have to create this account. That might be a way for us to block the funds and force them to do something else.
Yes. This is maybe our only option.
If this is how we got to play it, then this might be the way we have to play it. And we're going to need you guys to help us out.
And not just in August. It is important to show up in August so that they don't pull the same thing and actually suspend the rules and vote. If we all show up in August and really push back, I think there would be enough pressure for them to say, well, we don't want to suspend the rules because that would look really bad, especially with everybody here, right?
Right.
But then it would still be September. And if you don't show up in September after showing up in August, then they can just pass it and not even have to think about it.
Yeah.
You got to stay engaged. So we need you in August 27th, 6 p.m. at 215 East Central Avenue in Bentonville. It's behind the courthouse, the administrative building.
Yep.
And then again in September, I need to look at the date, but it's usually like towards the end of September is when it'll be. And I will make sure that that's all posted and shared as well. But we need people speaking out. We need you emailing your justices. We need people contacting the sheriff and asking him to justify, why are you signing these agreements and saying you want to go after these people, especially when you say your jail is too full and you need a bigger jail with a bigger budget every year to operate it. Why are you doing this?
And where's that continual money coming from?
It's all coming from us. We're all paying for this one way or the other. And that's the thing. Your county tax dollars could be going towards things that help you. It could be going towards infrastructure.
Federal tax dollars are, though, because they're being reimbursed right now with federal tax dollars.
Yes.
So when this goes through,
our county tax dollars are fronting it.
We're fronting the cash, and they're supposed to be, because that's written in there. They're supposed to be. The federal government is supposed to pay them back as reimbursement. So
absolutely.
You're paying two ways: once in advance, and then again from the Fed, and that money, that's advance money, is gone.
Yep.
That's already
I mean,
spent.
it's
So
it
even
comes
though they
back,
get the money
but like,
reimbursed, it doesn't come back to the coffers of taxes. It goes.
I mean, it just
It,
resupplies wherever it came from. So
it
like,
does. It
I
doesn't.
mean,
I thought it went somewhere else.
so I mean, the way we're paying for it up front is we have to pay for the cost as it happens, right? As taxpayers. It's our tax dollars paying for the employees at the jail. It
Shoot.
is our tax dollars actively paying for the jail operations every single day, right? If we get reimbursed for that on the back end from the federal government, that balances out the checkbook
Oh, it does. Okay. Well.
at the end, right? And if there's some kind of bonus attached to that, then I guess that would go to whichever officer is entitled to that. But entitled to that.
So they have to
Um,
wait for their bonuses. Nice. I
I'm
wouldn't be
not
surprised.
entirely sure how that works. I need to look at how those
Okay.
incentives work because the incentive part is still very confusing and unclear to me. But I would like to understand that better because I don't know enough
Well, if
about
anyone
that
happens to
particular.
know that part of it, write it down. Just
Yeah, I will have to look into that a bit more. But the way anything like this works is like if we sign these agreements or if there's something that the federal government is supposed to pay us back for, we do the thing and then get the reimbursement later, right? So, but whatever cost the county is paying up front, like we are paying for the jail to be operating daily. So we're paying for the officers to go out into our community. We are already paying it.
Mhm.
If the federal government fails to meet their part of the obligation and reimburse us, that money's gone, right? So
So
it's
we're probably going to be doing more on this topic. I think we'll probably
I'm
get a
sure we
little
will.
bit, and then I think we're going to get back into it, especially as more and more people know. Before I forget, and I should have said it at the beginning of the video,
Yeah.
please subscribe to the channel, like, and share it. I don't care if you hit the notification bell. If you want to, that's cool because then you get the next video. But I post all this stuff on our individual page, and I post it other places. So follow me and input. Put something in the comment section. A blue heart. Say whatever you want. And if you have questions or you want something for me to do later, another topic for me to do, to write it in there, and I'll do my best to produce it for you. You got anything to add?
I don't think so. I mean, if you want, you can follow me on my social medias as well. Angelina for JP on Facebook and TikTok, and Angelina White for JP on Instagram, since the other handle wasn't available. Because I post updates pretty regularly on this as well, and I try to keep everyone updated on when the meetings are
Mhm.
and calls to action and things like that. So I try to keep everyone informed on all the socials. So this is stuff that's actively occurring. And while it is part of my campaign platform, it's not all of what I want to do. I also want to talk about what we can have in Benton County and what better things we could be doing with our tax dollars. And I cannot wait until the point where they stop doing such terrible stuff that we can then focus on things that actually make our county better, because that is the entire point of our government and what they should be focused on, not on making life
Yeah,
harder for certain people.
absolutely. We'll have more to talk about.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yep. See you, and we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.